attending today's Qvinci webinar regarding setup and rollouts, webinars for accountants and bookkeepers. My name is Marty De Los Santos. I'll be going through today's webinar. Again, thank you again. And by the way, as we go through this, keep in mind that the information that is available in today's presentation will be made available to you as well. Ultimately, it will also be placed on our website from a historical standpoint, but each of you will get access to the information that we're walking through today. I do want to point out that we do have there is a chat feature with the web sharing service that we're using, so feel free to ask any questions via chat. We do have a couple of my colleagues that will be monitoring the chat and being able to address your questions via chat today. All right, so we're going to get the ball rolling here. So again, today's topic, again, Qvinci Setup and Rollout, webinar for accountants and bookkeepers. And again, maybe not all of you, but several accountants and bookkeepers with whom we've spoken recently, especially, are also pro advisors. We do have an automated sync with the products you see down below, Intuit, QuickBooks, as well as Xero, and also Intuit Franchise Program. Qvinci is actually the reporting partner for the Intuit Franchise Program as well. This is some of the clients with whom we currently we work that are currently utilizing our solution. Names that some of you may recognize. This is an overview of what we're going to cover today. Overview Qvinci, setting up accounts, linking and syncing of your files, building your own standardized chart of accounts, memorize and filter reports, verification tool, which is our health alert, of course, rolling it out to your clients, and of course the benefits for you and your clients. There will be time at the end for some Q&A. But again, if as we're walking through it, if any of you have any questions specific to an area that we're covering and want to go ahead and chat that out to us, again, one of my colleagues will be able to address your question as well via the chat system. All right, so again, features of the application, file consolidation, daily automatic and sync history report. Again, one of the key things that Qvinci does is really help to streamline and help organizations become much more efficient with how the financial information is being shared. So we do have automated syncing processes with Xero, with QuickBooks, with MYOB. We can also do a manual sync with Excel. And reporting from Qvinci, whether you have single location clients that are utilizing the solution or multi-location clients, one of the key features of the system is that it is, because we are a SaaS solution, it's really anytime, anywhere reporting that is available for yourselves and for your clients from any web-enabled device. It does not have to just be a laptop or PC. Smartphones, tablets, as long as your clients have internet connectivity, they can log into their Qvinci file program and be able to generate reports, look at the dashboards related to their specific locations. Mapping to a standard chart of accounts. We do have technology for which we were actually awarded a patent earlier this year to where we can help map to a standardized chart of accounts. So, technology includes things that we look for keywords that should fit together. For example, rent versus lease versus office rent. Rather than having a file that has multiple lines to it, let's consolidate those items, really help to streamline and make it a much more concise reporting mechanism for you and your clients. And of course, if you or your clients are already utilizing a standard chart of accounts, send that to us. Let us import that for you for your client, so that anything associated with their files that are coming in are going to be mapped to the standard that they're currently using. We do have ranking and benchmarking reports, especially the benchmarking for clients that have multiple locations. And let's help them to be able to, for them and for each of their client locations, to be able to see how are they performing against each other. So we'll look at those reports in the system. We're setting goals and limited logins. We do not charge per login. So unlimited users, and I'll also talk about how when we get into the application, how it really is it's a siloed look. So each user has specific credentials and rights that really only allow them to see what they need to see. So file verification, we also call this health check, which will pinpoint when we log into the system. Key thing when you're importing these files or syncing these files is we want to make sure that the files are accurate and true. And so our solution will look for anomalies in those files, places where things aren't really balancing out. So I'll show when we look at the health check as it's an item where all the numbers should be 0 for these areas, but if they're not, the application will pinpoint where it's not and also help you to direct where exactly are those issues lying, so that you can go back to your accounting application and be able to make those corrections. So again, so Qvinci. So again, I mentioned earlier that being able to automate the capturing of the data via our automated sync with Xero and QuickBooks. Another big reason why clients are migrating to our solution is the consolidation reporting that we have available. But it's not just for the organizations that have multiple entities. Even with single entity clients that you're working with, it gives you a single point of view to be able to look at all of your clients. It gives your clients online reporting, so they can log in to do reports really from anywhere they want, especially if they're using a desktop instance of an application or just using Excel. Let's give them some more tools that help them to be able to see their data in a much more efficient fashion. So here's just an example. Again, if you're the accountant or bookkeeper and you have multiple clients that are single location, this is what it may look like. Now, if you have clients that have multiple entities, it may look more along the lines of this, where you have you are the account owner possibly, and here's one client and their locations, a second client and their location, and so forth. And you can, of course, have clients. Some of your clients may be single, some multiple. You can even mix match that as well. Let's actually dive into the application just to really kind of pinpoint what we're discussing. Give me 1 second. All right, so we're now looking at the Qvinci application. I'm logged in. It is my landing page is my dashboard. So talking about having multiple clients on on an account. So for example, up on the upper left where it reads Qvinci, this we can white label this to be your organization's name. ABC Accounting, ABC Bookkeeping, whatever your organization's name is. We get into this blue area. This is where we get into what we call the company level within the application. So for accountants and bookkeepers, here's your drop-down menu. Here's where your list of clients could all appear for you. Keep in mind, I'm logged in as an admin for you to be able to go from one client to the other. Now, when your clients log in, they only see their own specific data. They do not have access to see anybody else who is associated with your account. So I can go right now. I'm associating this with the multi-store franchise. Maybe I need to go over to client 1, and I can quickly maneuver and go on over without having to log out or log back in to go from one client to the other. This is a client that just has a single location. Here's their information. I want to go back to my other client, select. This client happens to have multiple locations, and so we are getting some consolidation with associated with this particular client. In our demo site, we happen to call locations, just city and state. You can call it whatever your client feels makes the most sense, or whatever you feel makes the most sense for your particular client to really differentiate from one location to the other. The dashboard that we're seeing, this is user defined as far as which widgets, we call these widgets, that you want enabled, as well as even the layout of the widgets. I click on select widgets. You can see here the ones that I do have enabled. I can disable certain widgets. I can also pick one to say I want to move it up or move it down, and really decide what layout works the best for me based on what information is the most important for me in my business. And your clients can do the same thing. Which widgets do you want to see and want to enable or disable? Anything that's graphical in nature can be printed or exported to an image. You can also disable certain items on here. I don't really care about expenses. Just show me income, net income, or maybe vice versa. I just want to see what my expenses are. If I just hover, I can also get the date and the dollar figures associated with items as well. Along the left-hand side, we can see which locations for which we're looking. So right now it is a consolidated view for all my locations. but maybe I just want to look at one location in particular. Click Austin, for example, and now here's just the data and the numbers just for my one location, or just for that one location associated with my client. I want to go back to all, click all. Again, and that quickly, it's consolidated the numbers across this ecosystem. Diving into reporting, click on the reporting tab on the upper right. Here, working left to right, excuse me. So we have some filters that we call properties that some are defined automatically within the application, but on a per client basis. So again, keeping in mind this is the multi-store franchise client. For this particular client, we've also defined some additional properties, slash filters, and you can actually have up to 20 unique filter categories that you want to create for that client, and under each category up to 20 items that make up that category. So for example, region is one of these categories that we've created, and then under region, we have these 5 sub items associated with region. So I can have up to 20 customizable filters. Again, and the idea there is, what does your client use, or what are you using to really help filter? Maybe for example, we have some clients that have freestanding locations. Some have locations that are associated with the strip center. So they want to be able to generate reports based on those differentiations. So that could be a category that they're creating here as well. This middle area, memorized reports. We understand that there's going to be reports that yourself, your clients are going to want to run that are pretty frequent. We don't want you to have to recreate these reports from scratch, every time. Go ahead and pick the report, apply the appropriate filters, and once you run that report, you can memorize it, give it a name, and at that point, it becomes one of these memorized reports. So moving forward, I can just say, I just want to run this by location, P&L by location report year to date. This is one that I run pretty frequently. Single click. That quickly, it's generated this report for this particular client. And on the top, it's let me know what this report is. So it's a P&L this calendar year to date. I do have account mapping enabled, so it is mapping to the standard chart of account that I'm using for this particular client. And again, each of your clients can have their own standard charts of account that you're utilizing for them. So this is a by location. So it is giving me all my locations side by side across. Of course, the left here's your chart of accounts. Far right, it is giving me my grand totals as well. I've already given this report a name, so it's giving me the option to rename it. If this was not a memorized report, up in purple it would read memorize. Of course, I can also export this to Excel for further analysis if necessary. But just starting from scratch, I can just click on a report. What frequency do I want to run it by? By month, by quarter, by year, or totals is going to give me a consolidated view for this particular client. So we've seen it by location. Let's just run this by month. What is my time frame? How long do I want to, maybe it's for the last 12 months, for example, or do I want to select a custom date range to pick my start and ending month? There's also weekly reporting that is available from Qvinci as well. Account mapping, do I want this mapping turn on or turn off? And that's one of the nice things with Qvinci, especially if you're just running this for one location. Do you want to run this with account mapping disabled so you can really see everything that makes up the chart of accounts for the native chart of accounts for that particular location? Vertical analysis turned on or turned off. You want to see graphical representation of these items as well. I can show the graph of this. Build my report. I can also, again, apply my filters, or I can even, say under clicking locations, I can hand pick for which locations do I want to include in this particular report. Hit build. Again, I got my graphical representation across the top as well. And just like on the dashboard, I can disable or enable certain items on the graph there. Down below, rather than having my locations, here it is by month. So these are the consolidated numbers for all my locations for this particular client. Again, and it generates this report in a fraction of a second. Roll through and see everything that's making up this particular report. If you notice that we ran this map, there are unmapped items appearing here as well. Once you start utilizing the standard chart of accounts, if you are noticing anything that's coming in as unmapped, then what's happened is something after the time that you've began using the standardized chart of accounts, something has come in that's not been mapped before. So anything that you've already mapped will continue to stay mapped. So this tells me that one of the locations has added something to their file that has not been mapped before. And utilizing the tools within Qvinci, you have the ability to then go find, okay, what is it that has not been mapped? Okay, we need to go ahead and map this moving forward. Now, again, and once you've mapped it, it remains mapped. Just some of the other reports that are available. Again, balance sheet reports. Very quickly, I can just build this very quickly. Give it a name, memorize it. I mentioned peer benchmarking. So for your clients that do have multiple locations, here's a way where maybe your client wants to give each of their locations the ability to see how they are performing against each other. So for example, clients say, I want to compare all my locations to the top 10% for this calendar year. Do I want to turn vertical analysis on, yes or no? Build their report. So this is taking the average of the top 10% of the locations and being able to see, here are all the numbers for our locations as well. How am I performing versus the top 10%? You can see how this can become very powerful. Now keep it in mind, if I'm just the Austin location owner and I want to run this report against my ecosystem for the top 10%, I can do so as well. Kind of give an example what that view would possibly look like. So for example, I'm just going to pick Austin, comparing the same items, build my report. So this is what the Austin user would see. They don't see everybody else. They even though that they are sister locations, they just see their own numbers compared to the top 10% within their environment. Turn vertical analysis on, they can kind of see, okay, what kind of percent of revenue is the top 10% using versus what I'm using. Where do I have room to make adjustments if I want to operate more like one of these top 10% locations? Ranking reports. Sort on any column. Ratios. I'm just going to go through quickly. Get this calendar year to date by month. And some additional reports available: AR aging, AP aging, sales by customer, expense by vendor. So from the slides that we're showing, one of the items we mentioned was a file verification. Again, we call that health check. Click on this. So again, this is where ideally, and typically most of the time, the numbers on each of these areas will be 0. If it's not 0, this is just letting you know that, hey, you've got some files that have synced with your Qvinci account that are not balanced. And if you click here to view the details, it's going to show you where those anomalies are occurring. The location name, the company name, the month and year, and what's actually happening. Well, total assets, total liabilities in this case are not meshing. So this lets you know that we need to go back to the accounting file for that particular month and that location to see, was there something added after the month was closed, for example, by your client. Right. So again, just to kind of rehash what we've walked through so far is got your account, top level, your clients, the locations. We got your dashboard, reporting functionality, health check. As far as creating your locations, you can manage the locations. You can look at sync activity, what's been synced as well. There's syncing reports that'll happen. And also one thing from looking at the locations, green dots let me know that these files have synced. For any that are red, it means the file has not synced. I know this is a bit of a high-level overview. We can definitely get into much more details for your specific questions. Just give us a call, and one of my colleagues or myself would be more than happy to walk with you in a much more detailed manner through the site, very specific for your particular environment and how this may work for your clients. All right, so we're going to get back to presentation. So again, the onboarding process, again, it is assisted. mass email to each contributor with explicit instructions. Again, we understand that your different clients, they're not all utilizing the same thing. Some are using QuickBooks Online, some QuickBooks Desktop, Premier Enterprise. Some may be using Xero, some may just be using Excel, or maybe using another application altogether, for which we do not have an automated sync. Where maybe Excel is the means by which we do need to get them involved as far as utilizing the Qvinci structure. There is chat and phone support, throughout that process. So again, here's kind of a workflow, how it will work. But the key thing is, that just for you to know, is that our customer support team is available to assist and to help you get you up and running, because we understand getting started on the right foot is by all means one of the very key things to be very successful with the application. Again, we talk about support is free and available Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. We have live chat, email, phone, how-to videos. We have a knowledge base that's available to you as a client that you can access and utilize. There's key topics that we've just from our years of experience and utilizing the system, and very common help items that we've come across, and descriptions of how to really walk through some of those areas, especially if it's very specific. Hey, this is what I want to do. How can I do this? There's some a lot of key areas and key factors that are discussed with the knowledge base. Again, rolling it out for your clients. Roll out by file type for ease of syncing. All your QBO clients, your QB desktop, et cetera. Onboard your multi-location clients first for the full reporting benefits. Again, you're looking for a consolidation. I'm sure they're looking for consolidated efforts and reporting across their entire environment as well. Again, and really sync all the files and invite users after the data is populated. Again, going back to users, it is unlimited users with the system, and each user is going to have certain rights associated with them. And so, for example, you have a client that has 5 locations. Your main client owner that is associated with all 5, when he or she will log in, they will see all 5 of their locations. They do not see any other clients that you have that are utilizing the system. And maybe that particular client wants each, 1 or 2 people from each location to also have access and visibility just to their specific location. We can define that as well. So when they log in, they only see their one location. So again, we can make it very granular from that standpoint, as far as making sure that visibility is really only for what those users need to have visibility to. So financial consolidation for your multi-site businesses, aggregated view of multiple non-related businesses as well. We understand not all clients, are operating, they have disparate kinds of organizations for which they're owning. Unlimited logins. So again, have as many users utilize the system as well. Again, dashboards. Everybody gets a dashboard, and again, each person can determine which widgets on their dashboard they want enabled or disabled, and how they want their dashboard laid out. Intuitive interface. Non-financial reporting filters is available as well. So as mentioned earlier, in this particular, in my demo, we had one of their filters was by region. They had a north region, south region, east region, and so forth. So again, it's a non-financial item that can be utilized to help filter out and sort out their organization. Peer benchmarking capabilities and functionality. Again, how do we compare to others within the application? Again, one key thing it's not on the screen as well, of course, is really anytime, anywhere reporting. Even for your single entity clients, if they're using QB Desktop, or they're using Excel, or some other means that's not QB Online, for example, let's give them the means to be able to generate the reports as well, be it from a laptop, desktop, smartphone, a tablet. As long as they have internet functionality through that, they can log in, take a look at their dashboard, generate a report. Maybe they want to see real quickly what their cash flow looks like. So be able to generate those kinds of reports. And again, it is based on the most current sync that's happened with Qvinci. And going back to that, again, thinking process for Xero and for QB Online, it's every night at midnight, or at 2 a.m. Central Time, that the sync is occurring. Those clients can also sync more. If they want to sync manually, beyond those times, they can do so up to 1 time per hour. With QB Desktop, there's some instances where we can even do some scheduled syncing, but typically that's just going to happen after the initial process is set up. Whenever a contributor to that file is logged in, has that file open, it's just going to automatically sync in the background. So for you, again, so it's analytics. There's new services and you're able to provide for your clients. Being able to, properties and filters, be able to build custom reports and analysis. And speaking to that, we actually, are working on some functionality to add to the reporting feature. It's really going to, give you a lot more tools and resources and value that you can bring to your clients with the Qvinci tool. Report consolidation. Let's eliminate or really greatly reduce a lot of the time that's currently being used by yourself or by your clients that are multi business entity location owners to really help let's get those reports out much more quickly, give you more time to do other things for your other clients, or maybe even be able to look for newer clients. Web-based reporting, alerts and emails, health check. I mentioned let's make sure that the files that are being synced are balanced. If they're not, why not, and where are they not balanced? And be able to give you the tools and resources to go back and make those corrections and be able to link in and sync in. Again, the automation associated with that greatly reduces the amount of time needed for your clients to share data with you, or even for the back and forth that may go between you and your clients related to the files or their accounting out information that they're sharing with you. So along those same lines, so with Qvinci, we do offer a reseller and referral programs, and here's links directly from our website that you can find as well. Again, keeping in mind, we're going to provide this information over to you. The reseller program, basically, again, you're the account owner, and you're bringing clients in onto your Qvinci account. Again, it is siloed view. They only have access and visibility to what is relevant for their particular business. Referral program, where maybe you have clients that they want to control their account. So rather than you be the account owner, they would be the account owner. But of course, it's up to your client's discretion whether or not you're going to be a user associated with their account. But in that case, again, you're referring them directly to us. We're working with them directly, and the billing goes directly to them as well. So I know I've gone through this quite quickly, and I think there have been some questions already pinging back and forth with my colleagues. Again, one thing, just as mentioned earlier, I know we did a quick kind of high-level view of the application. Again, for a much more detailed view, especially if you have specific questions in a certain area, you really want to see how that area works. Maybe for examples that come up often for your clients. Please give us a call. Myself or any one of my colleagues will be more than happy to do another web sharing session specifically for you, and to walk through this with you directly, again, in a much more detailed fashion. But again, we do have some time. Feel free to ask some questions. I know we've got a couple of colleagues here that are addressing those for you right now. All right, so the pricing, so the way the pricing works, it is based on a per file / per location. Although we do for QuickBooks, we can sync by class as well. We have some clients that they may only have a single file, but they have 5 classes in that file, and they want to be able to disseminate that information. So for our purposes, each one of those classes would be what we call a location. It is $14.95, per file / location per month. We do also offer annual billing. But for organizations or folks that are maybe looking to become a reseller partner with Qvinci, there is a discount associated with that if you become a certified reseller. So you basically get 30% off of that amount, which brings it to somewhere around $10.46 per file that we would bill per location. And as a reseller, then you have the option to bill your clients or to not bill your clients for any fees associated with the services. Basically you can bill them anywhere from 0 up to $14.95 per location for their particular files. So I mentioned, we got a question came in asking about classes. So, if you have clients that have files or classes, we can sync by one or the other. So if you want to sync by class for that particular client location, which is coming from that single file, we can do that. If you rather sync by file, you can do that, but it's one or the other. Keeping that in mind, if you have some clients where maybe several of the locations, the file is the file, and there's no other classes, but maybe one or two of their locations, they do have classes, and they do want to break those out. You can do so for that particular file, but but again, you either sync by the file for that particular file or by the class for that file. You can't do by both for the same file. Again, as a reseller, again, you are the account owner. So our relationship initially is with you as the reseller. So if you recall from the application up in the top left where it read Qvinci, that's where we could white label it for your organization, your organization's name, your organization's logo, whatever you want to appear there. So even when your clients log in, that's what they see as well. And again, so our relationship is with you, and you bring on clients into your Qvinci account, each one being a unique company within your application. That again, so you're keeping your clients separate from each other. Question came in about consolidating from across multiple file types. Yes, Qvinci can consolidate from different versions. So not all of, if you have a client that has multiple locations, some are using QuickBooks Online, some are using QuickBooks Premier, some QuickBooks Enterprise, some are using Xero, some may be using Excel. Qvinci can consolidate from those different sources within the application. And Qvinci is a software as a service solution. So again, it's web-based, nothing to install as far as the software is concerned. The only thing on time where there actually any kind of installation is if your clients are utilizing QuickBooks Desktop. There is a sync application that would have to be installed where the QuickBooks instance is installed as well. But other than that, there's nothing else to install as far as the software is concerned. So again, as a reseller, again, our relationship is with you, and again, there is if you keep in mind the cost for the solution, on a per month basis is $14.95. But as a reseller, there's a 30% discount associated with that, again, which brings the cost down to again around $10.46 per location. That's what we would bill you as a reseller. You then have the opportunity to choose whether or not you bill your clients, for the service or not. So you can bill anywhere from $0 or up to $14.95. So there is a little bit of a difference there that you can make up on a per location basis from your clients as well. And the link to our reseller page does describe some of the other items that are associated with being a reseller of the solution. Again, directly from our website, there is a partner tab on the top middle bar. If you just hover over that, it'll show, there's a link for our reseller program, our referral program. And keep in mind that the deck did have links to those items, and you'll get information as well. And it will also be made available on our website from a historical perspective of a past webinar that we've done. So users are, and it's unlimited users. We do not charge per user. So you can have as many, for your client, they can have as many users as necessary for the application, because again, the cost is not based on a per login. The cost is based on number of locations, / number of files that are in the application that are being synced. many users as you wish. So again, one way to really sell this to your clients, let's they can have a single person or as many as they want to have visibility and appropriate visibility. Again, the user rights are determined based on what level of information or actually how much information do you want this client to see? Do they need to see multiple locations for their business or just a single location for them? We do not sync any fraud sensitive material, no credit card information, social security numbers. It's just information that is coming from the accounting file. So again, it's not going to be your fraud sensitive data that is synced into the Qvinci. Question came in regarding the security of the data. So with Qvinci, we use AWS, Amazon Web Services, for our hosting environment, and they do cover all of the certifications that you typically would look for from a security environment. We can provide information to that for you specifically, especially if you want to present it to your IT departments related to the security of the data. SOC 1, SOC 2, SOC 3, I think, SSAE 16 certifications, HIPAA, and so forth. So everything that you can cover, it's really, basically for all intents and purposes, military grade level of security associated with the information. Right. So again, if we didn't get to any of your questions, by all means, please feel free to reach out to us. Again, you have the information directly in front of you. You can also give us a call. Our number here, 512-637-7337. Again, myself or any one of my colleagues, more than happy to address your questions. And as mentioned earlier, if you want to maybe do a little bit deeper dive into the application, especially into any areas that are very specific for you, we could do another web sharing session directly with you and go into the application in a more deeper fashion. I do want to thank you again for taking the time. Appreciate everybody who joined us today. And again, you will receive this information. It will be made available through our website as well. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day.